Hi, everyone, and welcome to Truth Camp. I'm your host, Crystal Giznichek, with my co-host and wife, Sarah. We believe that there is something you can learn from everyone and want to help share these truths to help inspire and motivate. Thank you for spending time with us today. Now let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Truth Camp with myself, Sarah, my wife, Crystal, and today we have motherfucking Maria Filimonova on the show to talk about all of the things. So we'll let you introduce yourself and
what you do.
Explain whatever you'd like to explain, and then I'll start asking intrusive questions.
I love it. My name is Maria. I've known Sarah and Crystal for a couple of years now. Both of them are my clients. We also have a lot of mutual friends. I own a business. It's a lash academy / studio, Blink Therapy Lash Pro. And you're more than welcome to come in and spend all of your money there.
Maria is an amazing lash artist and has all the knowledge and information. And you did, and if you didn't pick up on the accent, Maria is from Estonia.
Correct.
And how long did you live there before you moved to the U.S.? You want to tell a little bit about your growing up there?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Estonia. It's not Russia. A lot of people think that since I'm Russian, I'm from Russia. People are like, oh, when are you going back to Russia? I'm like, I'm not going back to Russia. So I was born when it was still USSR for a couple of months, and then it conveniently disbanded. So in Estonia, again, it's like actual independence. But it's a small country in the north of Europe, right under Finland and Scandinavia. I lived there essentially my entire childhood and teenage years, and then when I was 18 I moved to Italy for a little bit, then I moved back to Estonia, and then I moved to United States when I went through an exchange program as a student. So, and I never left. And
you were doing what with the exchange program? Because it was something not with like lashes or anything.
No, lashes were not supposed to happen. America was not supposed to happen. Linguistics.
Linguistics, that's what it was.
And I minored in history and psychology. So I needed to pick up another language for my program, and I was able to transfer my credit to Italy, and I went to school in Florence.
Oh, that's awesome.
And how many languages?
Do you know?
7?
5.
Fluently?
Not fluently, no. Russian, Estonian. I'm rusty already in Estonian, to be honest with you. Russian and English, I would say I'm fluent. Italian and Estonian, I have very nice, like, small talk conversational language. And then I actually spoke very fluent Ukrainian, because when I was little, my mother had to take me back to her home country a lot, because there were no options for us to be with anybody at that time, like babysitter wise. So she would take us there for a few years in a row over the summer months. So for 3 or 4 months we would spend in Ukraine. And when I came back, I actually had a really hard time readjusting to like Russian and Estonian, because like Ukrainian would come out.
Oh, really?
So, but now I don't think I can speak.
Are they similar? Like
Ukrainian and Russian are similar.
Okay.
Estonian is a completely different language family.
Okay.
But yeah, you could probably guess if you hear a Ukrainian person, if you're Russian, what they're talking about. But, you know, I don't consider myself a fluent Ukrainian speaker anymore.
Now, when you first came to the U.S., where did you live at first? In
I
Texas?
moved to Houston, Texas,
okay,
yes. Yes.
And you went to school there?
Yes, and I lived there for a year, and then I moved to Pennsylvania, and then we ended up buying a house in West Virginia.
And when you say we, you're talking about your husband.
My husband,
your now husband. So can you tell the story a little bit about how your relationship, like how you guys met?
It was another one of those things that was not supposed to happen. I never wanted to meet anybody. We met originally online, but not on a dating site. When I applied for my faculty, I was supposed to have very strong conversation in English, and my English was very proper. Whenever I had my, not audition, it was like a little one-on-one with the speaking teacher, we had to read a paragraph and then in our own words describe what what was going on in there, and he said, you talk like Queen of England. You need to simplify. You're too proper. You need to learn colloquials and all of those like street talky words. I'm like, I don't know how. So he suggested watching American movies, and I'm like, I already do that. So he said, and back in the day, it was 2000 maybe 6. It was before I graduated high school. I was already enrolled in very intense lingual classes, and remember, we didn't really have like messengers. We had those chat rooms.
Yeah.
The old school stuff. So
Like AOL.
Oh God, yeah.
And then we had MSN.
Yeah.
So he told me, sign up for one of those and just meet people. Like, start talking, and
Oh, that's good practice.
yeah,
Like,
it was, I hate being uncomfortable, so it was one of those like but I found out that my grammar was still better than a lot of Americans.
I wouldn't doubt that for sure.
Including my husband. So he was one of those people hanging there. At that time, he was serving in Cuba, Guantanamo Bay. So when he was off, not much to do. So he was hanging online, feeling very cool about himself. Because to an American girl back in 2006, oh, I serve in Guantanamo Bay, was something really cool. To me, it really didn't matter. I was like, good for you.
Did he think he was impressing you, or like does he ever talk about that?
He was gift from God to the, like all women on earth, and I was very underimpressed, if I'm being honest. Like there was nothing there.
So how long did you guys were you guys just friends for a while?
I was still in high school and we started talking, and off and on. I went to Italy, we were still talking. I came back, and that's
But it was completely like platonic at that point.
Nothing. He would be telling me how many dates he like clocked in that day, like after coming back from the Navy. Yeah, it's like, I just came home, showered, and I'm gonna go the other day. Yeah, date. And I'm like, okay, cool, good for you, you whore. So, and yeah, but then he had a change of heart. Old habits were getting very old very fast, and he wanted to find some meaning in his life. And for whatever reason, I was that only person that anchored him emotionally somewhere. And I did not give in right away. You know how people say, oh, we fell in love. I was dragged into love. Like, and I still was like,
put the brakes on.
It's my favorite story ever. So funny.
And I was like, for 6 months after he came home from Cuba and I came home from Italy, I went back to my original university. He was like, hey, can I come see you? I'm like, no, why? And it's like, I don't know, just, looking for something. I'm like, go to church. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Go find God. Like, there's nothing here. So he wore me down for 6 months. He finally wore me down, and then he came. We had a very good time. He spent a week in Estonia. He was culturally and weather-wise shocked because he came in February, and it's like 3 feet of snow.
Oh, wow.
From end of October till probably end of March.
So they have a real bad
winter. So he came in flexing on me, wearing a leather jacket and some leather boots, shoes. So we had to go get him mittens and scarves and hats.
Culture shock.
He experienced real skin-and-heavy in winter. But he left, and I'm like, that was interesting, like that was different. And I wasn't looking for a relationship at the time. He went home. He told his mom, I'm going to marry this girl.
Oh, my God.
So he started asking me to come visit him in PA. And I'm like, no, I don't want to live in America. No. So I ended up applying for an exchange program, and I got matched in Houston, Texas. So I went there for a year. Every 3 weeks, he was buying me plane tickets for a day and a half. I had a full weekend every 3 weeks. So for that full weekend, because I had to go to school and work, I would fly in and spend time with him for a whole year. And then I was like, okay, I think we can make it work. So we did like online type of thing, then we did long distance thing, and then we did in-person thing. So it was a lot of stages, and 10 out of 10 don't recommend.
Your relation could you tell it was going somewhere at some point? Like
after that year.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to just like switch my life for somebody who wasn't going to be committed. Especially since I knew his slutty ways from before.
That's true.
So I wasn't going to be like, oh, well, yeah, sure, Richard, I'll come to PA.
Rescue me.
Yeah, no.
Bring me to America.
So, and then it took me, even after we actually got serious and even after we got married, it still took me a while to understand that this is it. I put my roots here and I'm staying here. And I'd say probably past 6-ish years is when I'm finally feeling like I'm comfortable enough to call this country my home.
And
Granted, I just got my citizenship.
That's another crazy thing, because I think as Americans, we hear how tough the citizenship test is, but I don't think anyone really realizes everything you have to go through.
It's usually one extreme or another. Some people still believe that you need to get married, like to an American citizen, to be granted the citizenship, and others know the true story. And usually because they experienced it like through somebody else, like their friend or like a spouse of their friend were going through the process and they actually know the real deal. It's very expensive. It's very intimidating, especially in the beginning.
What was the hardest part for you think?
The interviews, probably. The fact, it was also mental because I remember in court when we were you go into the government building and they put you in different rooms, separate rooms, and they question you. And they, to the point where, when was the last time you had intercourse?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, just now in the parking lot.
So so no questions are off limits.
No, just like here, we're golden.
I like how they use like as if because you've had intercourse with someone recently, that's so significant.
They want us to be on the same page.
They're probably trying to like throw you off in some way.
When's the last time you had... I don't know, Bob. When's the last time you fucked your wife? Probably not in the last few years.
You're probably right, too.
That's probably why they ask those questions.
I wish you would have said that in the end.
Well, here's the thing. In the very beginning, they try to intimidate you and make you slip. And even our attorney said that there's no jokes appropriate, accepted, nothing. Like you have to take this very seriously.
Yeah.
As the time goes on and you deeper into the process of actually getting your citizenship, the officers get more lax. Even this last guy, like I was there in September for like my exam, and the guy was very lax, very calm, very friendly, and I'm like, you're so chill compared to all these other people. He said that, we need to make sure you're doing things the right way, and if we are too friendly in the beginning, we're afraid that people just will disregard a lot of steps. So, and I understand.
Yeah.
And as much as people say, oh my gosh, this is ridiculously expensive, it's ridiculously difficult, if you want to live in a certain country, you have to commit to the ways, even if they're difficult and obnoxious. You have to commit that this is the way they want things done, and you either choose to do it or you choose to not, and then you can stay here legally or go somewhere else.
That's true. You have choices.
You have options. You might not like them, but you have them. So, but yeah. And for me, it was mental. Like when people were questioning me, I was like, I don't even want to fucking live here. Like, why do you have to jump through all these hoops?
Yeah.
And I happened to say it in front of our attorney, and she was amazing. She's one of the most expensive attorneys in Pittsburgh. She's actually is the most expensive attorney, yeah. But she does her job. She delivers. And she looked at me. She's like, don't you dare to say things like that in front of me or in this building ever again, because if you don't want to be here, we can get out of here right now. And I'm like, yes, ma'am.
Oh shit.
I was young too. I was 20, 21. Like I didn't have the spunk in me back then.
Now, how long after you guys got married did you guys have your daughter?
Too soon. Because if it were my way, she would probably be 3 now, but she's 7. So it will be 10 years here in a few weeks that we're married.
Did you guys plan to have?
Yeah, but not right away. So we moved into our new home and found out we were pregnant that same month.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she's your little mini
Yeah, she's
Mini Maria.
a copy.
She's a carbon
copy.
copy of Maria. She's the cutest little thing. And I think she gets like so many cool things from you. I see you like post about her creativity, and just like you were saying about the ring that she made for you.
She
Maria's
is
very artsy.
I am a woman of many talents.
Many talents. And you've gotten into like, what are some of the like art stuff? I know the resin.
Yeah, actually, Sarah owns my very first piece.
I love even though
you
and
hate it.
I was like, I think I'm gonna throw it away.
Yeah, you're
And
gonna throw.
she's
I'm like, no,
you
beautiful.
can't do that. Yeah. I just was underwhelmed by it because later I created something, in my opinion, much better. And I appreciate you for appreciating it. Somebody has to, right?
Yes.
So Sarah proudly displays it in the house now. But yeah, so resin. I used to have an Etsy jewelry shop very briefly, but to me it was more of a coping mechanism because I was very unhappy with the conditions I were in, like a situation I was in back then. I came here with the degree that I never got to work in because, quite honestly, you guys are not very rich in diversity in the United States.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? Burger King, McDonald's?
Lingual diversity.
What do you mean? Our colloquial talk and abbreviated things in the mumble? You're not fluent in mumble? We have that. ¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo está el baño? That's all we need.
Yeah, that's it. That's fine.
And beer is international, so we're good.
What are,
Más?
I was gonna say, what are some of the other differences that you've like from growing up? Because we've talked about like in Estonia, it's the differences of just how you're raised and the work ethic too. I feel like it's a different culture in Europe in general than America. And what was like your experience? You feel like
I grew up in a post-socialistic country, like socialism, and then we go straight for what's Estonia right now? A republic. So they are a republic, and they had to learn democracy really quickly with their own tweaks. And it's very unique situation because Estonia is unlike any other country. Even though being a part of USSR, they were so close to Europe that and USSR never pushed on them. Soviet Union never like held them too much under the thumb. I don't really know why. So they are it's a part
of the European Union now.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So.
It's a very unique situation. Not a lot of people understand Estonia. There is only 1 million of like actual genuine Estonians plus 300,000 of whoever were left there, and that's it. That makes up the whole country. It's like like on the map. So but those socialistic roots were like dug very deep in there. And in socialism, you're not special. Life is hard. Suck it up. Go work, but then you get to share all of your hard-earned money with your neighbor. In America, nothing is your fault. You're a victim of your circumstances. We'll give you anything you want in life. So, needless to say that my kid is growing up raised by two very different parents. Though I'm not the strictest one, but I allow her to express her emotions more. Rick would be like, go in a corner. And I'll be like, okay, I see you're upset. Tell me why. And as soon as it starts to creep towards attitude, this is where I nip it, because I believe that her personality needs to flourish a little bit more if she wants to develop a core. But so I came to America, and I have a degree in linguistics, and I can't use it, and everybody's stupid because the socialism is the right way, even though I didn't really believe that, but it was so drilled into my head that certain way you have, like, everything has a purpose, you have to, and it's not all bad, because I really believe that people thrive on structure and discipline. And then I came here, and everything's allowed. You're in a free country. And however, for whatever reason, people assume that since I have an accent, my rights were less, what I was allowed to do was less, my importance or significance was less, just because I was from somewhere else. So it's very conditional in this country as well. And then by 23, I stopped giving any fucks, and things were great since then.
So did you get a lot of backlash from people, you feel like, with your like having your accent, or like
in the beginning, yes, especially because I actually noticed that a lot. After you block it out and be like, yeah, I have an accent, so what? And then they can't say anything. Yeah, I have good observation skills. Mwah! Like I have an accent. So after you let things go like that, you're no longer bothered. But when you're 20, 21, because I turned 21 here. When you're 20, 21, 22 even, you're still like, well, shit, they're judging me for something I can't really do anything about. That was hard a little bit, but I mean, it is what it is. I didn't feel like I belonged until I opened my own business, where I no longer like needed anybody to make something like in life or make living, provide for my kid. When I worked as a waitress, that was very like, especially from younger generation, and I think you and I discussed it, because younger kids, they were pacified by the generation before them, by baby boomers and then millennials. So now all those young kids that come in, they think that they don't have filter. What they don't have is knowledge of why certain things happen, why their life is comfortable now, what sacrifices were made before. And their parents, their grandparents came from Italy, and they actually have accents, too. So they don't really understand that. They just are attitude and bratty. And I would come back to my tip line being completely crossed out and a note underneath: get back where you came from. You don't belong here. You dirty immigrant, or whatever, And it was like, for the longest time, I saved them. Like, I saved those receipts. Like,
it's like almost like a motivation, or like what purpose do you feel like
actually don't know. But I also save receipts where like, wow, you're beautiful, here's my number. I still have those.
But this is like coming from the population of people that the most exotic place they've ever been is Myrtle Beach. Say I'm wrong. Everybody in the Ohio about Myrtle Beach, Florida, there's no...
Well, they've been to Mexico too.
Can't forget, there's all-inclusive resorts.
That's up road.
That's really like disheartening to hear, because I'm sure you hear people like, oh my God, I can't believe people would do that. But you have all those people that say like, I would never do something like that. But you probably have a friend that would.
But then they go to Gabe's, and there is a Spanish or Mexican mom buying kids for her 15 children. It's because they work under the table and they pay taxes. That's why they can't afford to do that. Like, how is that different from... But then they would tell me, oh, well, I would never, Maria. I find your accent so beautiful.
I'm like, oh, yeah, do you?
So you're going to pick and choose which accent's beautiful.
Right?
I like your Estonian accent, but...
It's mixed. It's not really... Like, I can't tell, because growing up in Baltic, like in Estonia, Baltic region, Estonia particularly, I have an accent. If I go to Russian, they're like, you're from Baltic, because my dialect is different. And then when I speak Estonian, they're like... You're Russian born in Estonia, aren't you? I'm like, yes, I am. So, but they're more accepting of it, because it is what it is. Like, I was born in that time, and that's what was normal for that period of time and for that territory and area. So they're just more accepting of it.
So I was going to say, how did you get into the lashing from linguistics and...
So...
waitressing.
The only linguistic center in this area was in Pittsburgh. Do you know that red brick building behind Highmark Tower? It's like red brick. It's not very far from Highmark Tower. It's very short.
Downtown?
Downtown,
like,
yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yes, so I don't even know if it's still there. Back in 2012, they had on the second floor linguistic center. They edited papers, translated small articles, like worked for like a third party. And we didn't have a car. We couldn't afford a second car. And I am not a very good driver. And back then, I still didn't have my American driver's license. So I'm a brat. I come from a country that has fantastic public transportation. And it's not that sketchy Pittsburgh bus that you don't know if you're going to make it to the last stop.
Yeah. I think Europe in general has a lot better public.
They're very environmentally conscious. Yeah. Like, our buses run on solar power.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's really cool. And how long has that been going on?
Like, Estonia is #1 electronically advanced country in Europe and second in the world after Japan. So, they took their socialistically encased brains and developed their new version of democracy and quickly took over electronic world. So, they opened up the borders and started inviting the best brains in the world to work in their country, which is great. And this is how I think the biggest success, like how I determined the biggest success, they allow you to have free health insurance, and they allow you to have free language classes, because they believe that you can only be successful if you're comfortable. So how can you be comfortable in a country that you don't understand the language? So so when I came here and I'm like, I can just take a bus, and they just looked at me like, what bus?
From Wellsburg all the way to Pittsburgh.
Really couldn't really work in my degree. And back then, pre-COVID, working from home was not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, that's true.
This is one thing that will never change and go back, is working from home online. Back in the day, what do you mean you're going to send an email from home? You get your ass in the office in suit and tie, and you type that email and you click send, and then you can go back home. Like, that's how it was. Now it's like, I can't wear my underpants to the Zoom meeting. So the only option was for me is to wait tables. That was easiest, most convenient, close to home. And Rick and I were actually navigating really well. He worked in the morning. He would come home, pick me up, drop me off at Drovers, and go back home and then pick me up later after my shift. It was hard, but quite honestly, looking back, it made sense, and we made it work, because we never needed a babysitter before she started school, and we never actually needed a second car. Not that we could afford it at that time, but we made it work, and it worked for us. So, things were in reality, things were great for that time. And I started waiting tables, but then considering the demographics and education of people that come to work.
That's so politically correct.
I know, right? To a restaurant, or to eat at a restaurant, and the tippers in general, and the crowd itself. My brain just started to wilt away, and it's like, this is A, not fulfilling. B, what the fuck? C, what the fuck? So,
how long did you do that for?
Almost 5 years, four and a half-ish years. I can't say anything about the establishment. I worked at Drovers, great place, mostly good people, but quite honestly, people just don't generally tip. And this is one thing about America that I had really hard time with, is find a better job. Like, what's a better job? I come to work, I don't steal money, I work, I pay taxes, pay health insurance. What is a definition of a good job? Like, what in my circumstances would qualify as a good job? Like, taking out a loan, buying a car, driving to Pittsburgh, having an anxiety attack, working, driving home, having an anxiety attack, and not be able to support that lifestyle because it wasn't working for me. So, and there were actually people telling some waitresses, it was never done to my face, because I probably knocked a couple of teeth out. Well, you don't like with my tip. You're not happy with my tip. You don't like my tip. Get a better job. Like, it's very insulting. So that was one thing. In Europe, your tip is included in the food price. That's why people, the food is so expensive in Europe. No, it's not the food. You're actually paying her wages. And I think it's correct. But if it was a bad service, it doesn't fucking matter. You slack at your work all the time. Your big boss doesn't cut your check because you didn't send an email.
Yeah.
While you were sitting wearing underwear for your Zoom call. So the point is, it wasn't fulfilling, and I started to think, what is it that I could do that would, like, make me happier, because I was starting to get very unhappy. Probably because of that, it triggered a postpartum depression after I had Nicole. And not having family or people who understand what was going on, it was really hard. The healthcare environment was, like, very difficult for us, because Nicole had to have healthcare. We had a health care plan, but it wasn't good enough. All of it was just piling on and piling on. So I was like, well, what is one service or thing that I miss that I could do here and nobody else does? And actually, beauty services, particularly lashes, were it. And I came to Rick and I'm like, do you mind if I leave my very comfortable, steady job as a waitress and start putting fake hair on people's eyeballs? Cool with that? So
did he give you like a look, or?
Yeah, well, I had to elaborate clearly. And he was like, I'm like, well, we're really not losing anything. I'll do people in the morning before drovers and then go to work and then we'll see how it goes. So he was like, okay, it's weird, but okay. So I took Nicole and left for 3 months to go to Europe to get a esthetician's license. Because I'm like, I can't find anything here. I don't have a ride.
Yeah.
I don't have like means to go here. And in Europe, because I had a citizenship in Europe, there were a couple of programs I could qualify that gave me discounts. I still had to pay a lot of money, and considering that the plane tickets were very expensive. But I lived with my parents, and I could take a bus that ran on solar power
and have a babysitter.
And it was my free
kid.
babysitter. Yeah. So yeah. And then I came back and I slowly started to work, and it just took off from there. And what I didn't want to do is half-ass, job. I wanted, and I told Rick, like, if I'm doing it, just like with the citizenship, we're going to do it the right way. We're not going to cut corners. We're just going to, balls to the wall, get there. And I did. And a lot of people say now, like, how did you advertise? It was such a non-existent service back in 2000. I'm going to start 15. It was not very big. And you're in the beauty industry, so that's true. So I told them I actually didn't advertise. My biggest advertisement was the word of mouth. People saw, they recognized the quality. They went somewhere like in Pittsburgh and they said that they didn't have a good experience and they came to me. So, and I still have those people that came to me back like in my pink bedroom. Yeah, when we bought the house, it was this like Pepto-Bismol pink bedroom, and I just never repainted it. And I'm like, great, that's gonna be my service room, and it worked. And then I moved out, and I started renting a small room in a massage place in Follansbee, and then I outgrew it, and I own my studio,
which is
your beautiful studio in Weirton.
Thank you. It is beautiful.
It is. It's so pretty.
It's
and
so
beautiful. If you've never been there, go.
Yes.
But that chandelier.
I love the chandelier. I was just about to say that, the chandelier.
I made the chandelier.
Oh, it's so pretty. And everything's so clean and white and bright and sparkly.
And that was a dream. That's how I went. Like, it's my baby. I told Rick, like, this is what our house was supposed to look like. And he said no. So
did you envision, like, is that what you dreamed of, or did you just kind of just put in the work and where it led you, it led you?
I never actually envisioned owning, like, when people at home back in Estonia find out that I actually a salon owner and I'm a lash teacher, and now I have employees, and people like, she owns a salon? She was supposed to be a journalist. Like, what is happening right now? Because that was not me at all. But it's funny enough, because I was very always strong in science and how I use my wording, and I still use it in my career now, and it's very rewarding because people's like, you're never going to use it in school. And I'm like, I literally use trigonometry. How do you say it?
Trigonometry.
Thank you. Every day. Every single day I use that, even though I don't know how to say it in English. I use it every day for my job, and it's very rewarding. And I'm like, haha.
And that's what you like, the science stuff of your field too.
Yeah,
and the creativity
like, we've
aspect.
talked about that before too. It's not just that superficial shit.
No,
it's excelling in what you do and making people feel the way that they feel, and knowing that you did the best job,
bringing the value.
Yeah,
people are not buying a service, they're buying what the price is for the value. If you can prove to them that you can give them something they're searching for and actually fulfill that value, they will pay any price, essentially, really. I started with $45 fills, and I more than tripled prices since then. So, and it's not me. Oh, good job, Maria. You're the highest paid stylist in the area. I am, but I also uphold that value for the price.
And in all honesty, like, and I, even before I knew you, I said this, like, her work is impeccable, because around the time that you were starting your studio, it was the quick, go get your certification in lash extensions. This is an add-on service. So I did it, and it is hard. It's tedious. It's very time consuming. And you could tell the difference between just someone following a technique and throwing eyelashes on versus someone taking time to care and map it out and like see it.
Just like you don't do the same color cut service on your clients, we don't do the same lash style on clients essentially. And mine, like lashes is a narrow niche, and my service is even narrower niche in that niche, because I only do corrective lashing, I only do healthy lashing. There's a lot you can do with it, but people don't really recognize it. So I'm like swooped in and took over, and this is essentially how I was able to build a successful business with very good reputation. I personally don't have very bubbly reputation, but my business has amazing reputation.
Well, that's what is nice, is there's no bullshit with you. You're not like, do you want a good service, or do you want to sit there and bullshit with your lash
I don't come on like very strong in Russian the first time. Depends on the client. It depends on the client. So for instance, Crystal, she came in the first time, and I'm like, hi, how are you? What do you do for a living? Oh, personal trainer. That's so great. Yeah, you're changing so many lives. Sarah came in. So how does it feel like to live in a small-minded area and live in a committed gay marriage?
And I'm like, yes.
So depends. But,
You know how to read people, though, and that's... It's so cool because you could tell.
We did get to that question eventually. We just had to break some ice first.
Well, yeah, she's just so like light, and you're like, can I like just dip my toe into this?
First,
like, let's see. And then they're like, oh, okay.
And then I took a run.
Yeah.
With you, I was just like, okay, I'm ready.
And when I wanted to get my lashes done, you were like, you are going to no one but Maria.
It was
and I made room because I haven't been accepting clients since 2017. Here and there after pandemic, when some actually moved away. A couple of my clients just permanently moved away when COVID started, and then others, I'm not sure, maybe they died. I don't know, they just disappeared.
But I've always admired too, you always continue your education, because I like when I was going to you, weren't you doing some kind of marketing thing?
I took a class from Stanford in marketing. I didn't go to Stanford. I just bought a course. So I can't say, I went to Stanford.
Yeah, but you should.
Yeah, you should. There's so many other people doing it. You might as well.
I think you should own it.
But I passed the course. So, because lashes, I got the best education. Like a lot of people say, I went to beauty school, I didn't really learn anything, I started working. I can't relate because I always had good education. Like I went to Europe immediately for my lashes, then I went to Russia a couple of times, Spain, Italy, then I came here, took a couple of classes, then the rest was just kind of like enriched online until I had an opportunity to go back to Russia, Estonia. Russian girls were probably leaders in that industry, so I'm very lucky to get first-hand information and put it to use and teach other girls how to use it. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, why? Like when people start to question my prices, I raise them usually. So when people start to question my course prices, I tell them, this is not just the information that's available online. This is my mistakes. Like I fucked up. And that cost me a lot. So, and I'm giving you that information for a fairly reasonable price, in my opinion. So,
because if you went, like anyone can go take those little courses.
That's right.
And you go to some hotel conference room for an 8-hour course, and they blow you through absolutely everything. And then you have to learn the real fucking hard way.
Right.
Of like, of course they'll tell you, do this to test for this, and this can happen, and this can happen. But there's no support. You're 100% on your own. You paid this money. You congratulations, you graduated. You're on your own. And then there's no one to go, oh my God, my client had an allergic reaction. What the hell can I do? Or retention's a problem. There's no support.
And when was the last time they took a class? Any class, lash related marketing, because I don't give them just like, this is how you dip and slap and dip and slap and dip and slap. I don't do that. How do you get clients? How do you retain clients? How do you work with clients? You don't need to be bubbly to be fully booked. I mean, hello, have you met me?
This is true, but you're a special case.
You are.
Yeah,
how did you get into
my husband?
I will. He'll go, yeah, you haven't been with her for 10
Honestly,
years.
he lets me do whatever the hell I want without questioning me and be like, okay, now it's time to hire one useless employee, Maria. I'll have a name tag called Dick on. I'll be answering phone calls. I'm like, no, thank you. So,
when did you start training the people?
I did not train at all while I was in the house. And then a year into me renting, like from that little massage place in Follinsby, I felt comfortable that I could actually teach somebody. And those students still reach out to me. Oh my gosh, your class was like the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, you should come again. You need to, I have more. There's so much more. But I did not want to do it in the house. Quite honestly, let's be real. It's almost, what you do is different. You have a space set up for, personal training. But it's almost intrusive sometimes. And have you met my husband briefly? He made an appearance.
Yeah, he made an appearance at one of your events.
Yes. So and that's him. Hi. Okay, bye. So if I have a student there and then a model on top of it, I feel like I'm already pushed. Like he lets me do a lot. But if I said this is how it's gonna be, he'll be like, okay.
But your trainings, like I have told everyone, like go to Maria, and I don't just say it because I didn't even know you.
No,
we listen. She and I had this sickening love affair via social media, and like did not know who one another was. But like,
should I have been worried?
Jesus, like you have.
Thank God you came to me first.
Yes. You're going to her. But everybody, like I would see clients sit down in my chair and I'd see their lashes and they look like shit, or they bitch and complain. And it was
one lash like falling out.
And I'm like, it shouldn't be like this, because then I knew people that you'd done and it was perfect. I'm like, go there. Or anyone who wanted to learn how to do it, I'm like, that's where you go. And anyone who has taken that advice and gone to you is super successful, or they've done it, succeeded, and decided it wasn't like their most favorite thing, but they were spectacular.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not letting them out until they do what I need them to do. Well, after me, do whatever you want. Just don't tell them you train for me if that's not up to my standard. But you're not getting off this table, off this chair, until you deliver what I want from you.
But what I love about you is you care. It's not for you, like, come in, give me this money. I don't give a shit what happens to your eyelashes. Get out the door. Like, right. You care. Like, with Crystal's eyelashes, you
I think they got better.
Since you started so much better. Like, I noticed such a huge difference because when we first met, you were, your anxiety tick was to pull them out, trichotillomania.
Mm-hmm.
And,
and I had very like thin spots,
very
in my
thin,
lashes,
and your eyelashes, I couldn't believe how long.
And I was so nervous to get them done the first time because I thought it might trigger me to do it more. But everything I read like online said it could possibly do the opposite. So I was really interested in doing it. And
it's like biting nails. I'm a notorious nail biter. If I don't have acrylics on, I bite them like to the middle of the nail. You can see
like this.
She does.
Yep, exposure, complete exposure.
Like this right here.
In the house.
Listen, I wish that it could work with nail. I love the way nails look, but I also love the sensation of putting them in your mouth and just.
I still put them in my mouth,
just cracking them right off. That is, it's so satisfying. I have problems, I know,
but they did like grow in like way more fuller. After.
And you don't. I notice you do not mess. Like you have like a respect for your eyelashes
mess
now
at all. But when she told me, and I'm like, well. The problem with trichotillomania, it's in stages. You either have like only anxiety triggered one, or it's like a constant tick. You always do it, and some people do it in their sleep. You probably know that with hair. She was not the severe case, so yeah.
I definitely think mine was more anxiety, and just like even bringing that awareness, I think, of having those on there just helped not being able to do it.
Yeah,
anymore.
You did so good. It was so cute. You'd always be like, "Where's my little lash brush?" There were little pink lash brushes everywhere. Always one in the car, always somewhere.
We're
and
sprinkled
the trail of Maria.
And it's and you are not. You're girly, but you're not. It's weird. Like, but. For you to like brush your eyelashes out, that was really girly.
I didn't think about
that. I wish I could say like, oh my God, no. I'm done. Sorry, there's no
for the sake of
them there. It's cute. It's cute. I just twirling them how Maria told me to do it.
There you go. But see how Maria told me to do it. It's not just me being great at what I do, because I am, but it's my clients trusting the process and trusting me. Like, there is reason why I say things and why I want you to do things the right way. So that's essentially it. People like, how did you get the most amazing clientele? Like, they kind of came to me. They were done with you never experienced bad lashes, but they were done with the bullshit from everybody else. And they realized that other methods weren't working. And now they're staying with me for years and years and years because my methods do. So, and it's the same with students. Like, there's just a reason why I will fucking kill you if you don't do what I want you to do, and then I'll come and kill you if you somebody else up and put my name under it. Oh, I trained with Maria. I'm like, no, you didn't.
Like, nope. Let me tell you what happened. You started train and it went south. No.
I'm like, this is from your training. What is this fuckery over here? I don't know. But so far, I can't complain. All of my students were great, just as my clients. But they listen. So people either want to take the hard way and learn, or they want to dip and slap.
And two, you've said it so many times before, like, there's plenty of market out there for everyone, because what you do, you will never give someone those crazy ass lashes that their lashes can't handle. It doesn't suit. That's just not your look. That's not your vibe. And there are other people that do that. Like
and they are a buyer for that.
Yeah. And it's perfect for it, because I know if anyone follows Maria on social media, there have been instances where I mean, it's just the beauty industry stupid ass shit where, like, there's plenty to go around. You don't need to attack. But if you feel so inferior that you feel that you need to attack, then I think that speaks volumes about your character, but whatever. And those just weren't your clients. That's fine. Like, those people are not going.
You're not trying to draw those clients.
No, this is one of the, like, I work very closely with Tony and Guy, Beauty Academy, and when we do business talk, I tell them, you don't want all clients. You want clients to write the ones that are right for you. Like my client, let's just a very generalized portrait. Let's name her Susie. She's 45. She does occasional Botox. She has paid her mortgage off, her car off. Her husband is getting pretty good money. She works still, but she doesn't really need to. She likes to get her nails done twice a month, 3 times a month. She shops for fun. She makes great gifts. She likes a glass of wine every night, and she tips well. That's a portrait of my client. Middle-aged, 45 and up. I do have girls that are 25. You know them even. I do have women who are 63. I have girls who are doctors, attorneys, nurse practitioners, eye doctors even, personal trainers, hairstylists, the most amazing hairstylist. But general portrait is that, like, she has her shit together. Essentially, that's the description of my client. She has her shit together.
I can't tell you how many times people would be like, who did you recommend me to? And I would be like, listen, don't fuck with Maria's time. Like, if you go to her, you go to her. Like, and then I would message Maria and be like, can you get this person? And you always graciously accept who I send, because I very rarely do it, because I'm like, she doesn't take any better. She's never going to be able to work you in, but like for a wedding or something.
And I will tell you that there were like a couple of times I was like, well, I can't, but there's Taylor. And then some of them do go to Taylor, but then there was like, can I please get into your book? I'm like, I really love Sarah. So yes. And I have never regretted that.
Well, ever. Good. I'm glad, because everybody gets the speech. Don't fuck it up. Don't, because I want to be able to refer, but
because Maria would be like,
who the fuck?
Sarah?
But I know
we need to talk.
I know your Pete. Like, I know
my
your
client.
lane. Yeah. And I'm like, no, this is perfect. And then Taylor, now Taylor's so booked herself too. But I love sending people.
Remember how you said, you tell, if you want to learn the right way, you go to Maria. And have you noticed the pattern that people who came to me all succeeded, and those who said, I don't need any more training, their career is just not that great.
And we've talked about this so many times, because it doesn't matter who you are. If you know that there's an opportunity for you to learn from someone who is more experienced or can teach you something you didn't know, you're going to go take the training.
If you're always smart, if you're always the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Go find another room. That's just it.
In this industry, it's tough for people to humble themselves to, they think.
Well, I think that's where people go wrong even in personal training, if you think you know it all, you're not. There's always going to be new things evolving. There's going to be new, like there might be a core to some like things, but there's always going to be new that you can.
And there's
learn.
also specialties.
Yeah.
You help people actually get over a trauma. A lot of times they, regain the strength, their balance. So that's also a niche that you took, and it's okay to be an expert, but also you personally would be like, I would recommend yoga. Like, come to me twice a week, but also let's try this too. Like, you don't just hog.
Yeah.
But like, let me. Hey Siri, how do you do yoga? Don't do that. Like it's also an expertise. If people want some very dramatic lashes, I'm like, I want, not because I can't, I just don't want to. Because look at Danielle.
Yeah.
But Danielle has 14 millimeter natural lashes, but she's my girl. But if a person comes in, we did have a message. Hi, I usually wear 15 millimeters. Do you think you can do it? I'm like, no, you're so cute. So I recommended somebody else to her.
But that's how it should be. And it shouldn't be like the animosity of like.
It's not even that you couldn't figure out yoga.
Yeah.
It's because you were like, well, that's not what I do currently.
Stay in your lane.
And someone else does it better than me. Like, and I'm not afraid to admit that.
Yeah, and that's normal.
Yeah.
We're all human.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would rather be hyper focused to one thing.
Yeah.
I think we all know that being in service industry, once you can pinpoint, you're happier, your clients are happier.
Like, Michael Jordan didn't become a basketball legend by knitting on weekends. Like, oh, I'm going to go take a knitting class. No, he didn't become a legend because he did something else. But he built his career. And if he knit something right now, I'd go buy it.
Yeah.
So, become very efficient, very professional in one thing. And then after that's like, if you need to, kind of pick up more stuff. But I don't understand let's do yoga and powerlifting.
That's because it's that.
And breath work.
All the things. What is that like mentality
Yeah,
of
I know
like
what you're.
fucking brain fog. I can't remember. But that, you don't have enough. That like poor mentality. And you just have to think there's plenty of abundance.
Scarcity mentality.
There you go, scarcity mentality. And that'll kill you every time. But it's so funny because we can just like walk around and see people and like, do you go to Maria? Yeah, those are Maria lashes.
Signature.
I know those. Those are Maria lashes.
Signature.
I see them.
Should we open up the gift?
Shit, yeah.
Are we cutting into the time?
No, not yet.
I made this wonderful discovery when I looked at Dave and I was like, can we go over? And he's like, you do whatever you want. And I'm like, well, fuck. Then we're always going to just go wherever things lead us.
Should not have said that.
All right, you open.
Maria was so kind to bring us a gift today.
Yeah, because like we said, Maria's very artsy. Maria can do anything and everything.
Well, I can't take credit for making it.
I wish you would have brought some of your
it.
other art stuff. Next time you come on, you have to bring some of the things you've done.
Which, if you've listened to past episodes, Miss Elaine Kennedy, this is where her jewelry is displayed, and they're besties, and that's how I met Elaine, was through you, because you were like, you two are gonna, it's gonna be perfect.
And you hit it off.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I know. I'm
knew
like,
it.
yes, we're besties.
Ready?
All right, 1, 2, 3, go.
So, okay. We need a hot beverage for
We need
that.
a hot beverage.
Dave, we need hot water.
If it's not achievable, it's okay.
Oh, I like the little heart.
I
Yes.
know already. Listen, even if it was just as this, it's
When
winning.
you put a hot beverage,
There's a
it
heart.
comes up with Truth Camp logo.
Are you kidding?
And on the
Oh.
back side of it is a very witty quote. They're two
Does it say
different
fuck
quotes.
off now?
Fuck around and find out.
It's in that
Yes.
spirit. It's very,
Oh my goodness.
So if he can't, he was also supposed to get a mug and didn't come in yet. And it says a guy who asks great questions because he is in the background asking questions. And I
You hear that, Dave? You got your own mug.
He'll hear it when he edits.
But I remember when he was like, "Do you guys care if I say anything in the back?" I'm like, "No, please." Like, I love that listening to podcasts.
It actually makes it.
Water.
It actually makes it very credible because he finds information. He puts it there. It was very cool to see that it's not like, oh, blah 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 blah. So.
Oh, I'm so excited. Are you still doing the resin stuff? Are you still like dabbling here and there?
So now I only take personal orders. I don't have time to do it for the soul. It's fucking December. We don't have time. In beauty industry, we don't have time. And your probably New Year's resolution people will swamp you in January. It will die off after Valentine's Day. Everybody wants cake.
But you're still doing, like, you're taking orders to do them?
Personal orders, yeah. And they do put a commission in. Just like with lashes, I prefer everything very high-end and high quality. I purchase very like expensive equipment to do that, and I'm not gonna start an order if I don't get at least reimbursed for the materials I use. But yeah, I still do it. I just recently did which I need to show you a picture of. A friend of mine ordered a piece and she wanted it in colors of Estonian flag. And thank God it was Estonian flag, not like American, because you guys have such they're great colors. They just don't go well together for minerals. Like red, white, and blue. Like what?
Yeah, no.
Our Estonian flag is blue, black, white. And black, blue, white, blue, black, white. Those colors. So I made her, I didn't make a flag. I actually made a round geode, and it was blue and black stripe, and then crystal overlay, white crystal overlay underneath.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, she ordered it 6 months ago. I just finished it.
Yes, magic time. Magic.
Crystal,
do it.
We're gonna let you do it.
I also love too, like, your resin isn't just a simple, like, you have the crystals on it. If you like glittery, crystally things,
How sad would it be if it doesn't work?
it's gonna work.
It's going to work. I see it coming out.
It's steam.
Wait, I
Is
see
it
it a
coming
little bit coming through. It might not be hot enough.
If there's steam, kind of stick your finger in it. Find out how it is.
It's lukewarm. I can see it starting to come out, you see.
Oh, yeah, I can see where it's, like, matted.
Do you just want to microwave this one?
Yeah.
Can you microwave
I
those?
don't know.
Should you?
well, actually, no. It has sparkle on it, so I don't think it's safe for your microwave.
Ah, very good.
It's all right. When we get a coffee,
It's
we'll
coming
see
through.
it.
Look,
Oh,
look,
is
look,
it?
look.
Yes, it's starting to. Well, let's let it marinate.
Let it marinate.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. Don't put things in the microwave. They tell you that every little piece of, foily stuff has to be off. I put the peanut butter jar
Okay, when is that one?
in the microwave, and that was terrible.
This one says, "Have courage to be disliked." I like it. What's yours say? Can I see it?
Fuck around and find out. I'm just joking.
It's a stingy one. I think. That one was a stingy one.
Stingy one.
Oh, I like that it turns like whitish too.
Oh, it's so pretty.
I wanted. At first, I was looking at just regular cups, and then I'm like, no, there has to be a meaning, because until you talk about things, problems don't reveal themselves. So there you go, your hidden meaning.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too so
Thank you so much. That's so cool.
much.
Have you always been like artistic? Did you like do that when you were
Yes, I
growing
grew
up?
up piss poor, like nothing. My parents had to raise five children. And mind you, my dad has 2 high degrees. They're called high degrees, but they're equivalent to doctorates. And he actually, whenever USSR disbanded, he had to pick up a lot of side jobs. And this is how I ended up with my first job, which was a plumber. I was 13, and my dad hooked me up, and I was a plumber.
No way.
Yep. He lucked out, and he got into a deal. He was able to bid and won the deal to go and flush out piping systems in fire departments, fire stations. So he would come in, hook it up, and leave me there for 8 hours, and I had to switch the crane, the the little thingies, faucet
knobs.
thingies,
The faucet
knobs,
knobs?
yes, and run acid and neutralizer through the system multiple times through the day.
And you're only 13 years
I was
old?
13. He explained to me how it worked. I'm like, okay, great, I've got this. And yeah, it was great. That was my first job. And that's just to show you how hard it was to, like, when structure of the government disbands, people lose something they believed in. Because if you talk to my parents, they thought that Soviet Union is forever. Like, just like Americans believe that America is the greatest country in the world, that's how people... In between lines, sting.
I'll back you. I mean, we're watching it. Like, anyone who pays the smallest iota of attention, like, you're watching it happen, but, like, you've lived it.
Yes. So that's how then there were a lot of actually suicides when Soviet Union disbanded. A lot of people just actually, there was Great Depression, not the Great American Depression, but there was a lot of depression, and people in post-Soviet times actually in Soviet Union didn't believe in like mental health. You just need to suck it up. So
Yours is coming soon.
Now, is mental health like a focus there now as a result of?
I wouldn't say it's focused, but it's being accepted, and people are being now helped. Probably because of all the progress and different people that we bring into the country. So yeah, and because we didn't really have much growing up, I had to get very creative and resourceful, and that's probably where it stems from. My mom was very creative too, so I guess I get it a little bit from her. And you said like my kid, yes, like she is very encouraged to express herself through crafts or whatever.
That's cool.
She chooses.
Mine says, "Don't trade your authenticity for approval."
Oh,
Maria, you know me all
like
too
that.
well. I keep telling everybody, like, my whole thing for like this year, I'm like, be the villain, be the bad guy in the story.
They get the best costumes too.
They do, and they have the best makeup and everything else. But no, it's okay. Be the villain. We'll be the villains together, Maria.
So we're approaching an hour, and I am going to ask Maria, unless you have something else that you...
We could talk about so many things forever.
I know. We'll have her on again for sure. I'm going to ask you the final question. I just want you, and you can think of any story, any significant moment in your life, something you've been through that was like a hard time that you really like came out of the other side that really like changed you or your life.
There's many, and they're vastly different. Probably marrying a person outside of my country, culture, continent was one of them, and opening the business was another one, because both were not equally hard. But you know, people like to say, oh, what's the secret to perfect marriage, you know, because when people are like, oh, how long you and Rick been married, and I'm like, it's been over 9 years, it'll be 10 here in February. Like, oh, what's the secret to the perfect marriage? I'm like, probably it depends on how you define a perfect marriage, because it's different for everybody. People are like, oh, they only have one kid, like that's not like marital to them enough, or they don't have children, and apparently that marriage I have a couple of clients who are over like way in their 30s and they still don't have children, and people are like, oh, well, this is probably for something's wrong. They're like, no, it's our choice, we just don't want to. Well, why is that not a perfect marriage in somebody's eyes, you know? So, but being culturally very different and brainwashed differently, public schools, we had to find those like common grounds where certain things were either off limit to talk about because they were hurting us, like trying to force your opinion on somebody else. And essentially, quite honestly, like I said, he lets me do whatever I want. And remember you and Elaine were talking about marriage.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, well, respect, this is not like, that does not, like, it has to happen. Like, respect has to be there. It's non-negotiable. Thank you. If you don't have respect, if you cross a line, whether it's verbal, you use a certain word to belittle the other person, or it's physical. If it's physical, just go. Even if they swear to never, and just go. Like, at this point, it's too far gone. Too far gone. Like, it's not a line you jumped over the cliff at this point. Let go. Fall into the river and get taken away somewhere. If it's a word, I mean, we can work on it. There's therapy, but again, also like, where do you draw your limit? But then Elaine said, pushing each other to be better. I am a very driven person. I came to a different country with a different language, different culture, opened up a business from scratch. I actually didn't take loans to open a business. I saved, invested, and now it's great. Like, I'm the best doing lash artist in the area. Like, I'm very proud of it, but I don't need other people to be like, good job, Maria. Like, I pat myself on the back enough. Like, I drive in a car in my very old 2012 Subaru car. Like, girl, hey. Because driving is something I don't like doing, by the way. And people flex on me. Well, you're doing better now. Why don't you get a new car? I'm like, this one drives. And I hate driving. Why would I invest into something I hate to do? Mm-hmm. So, and Elaine's like, push each other to be better. I don't want Rick to push me, because what if he's going to push me somewhere where I don't want to go? Mm-hmm. His views, people say, have the same views, have same values. We don't have same views. We don't have same values. So I think respect would be probably it, but like working towards understanding it, that you don't need to drag another person. My husband likes to work really hard at work, come home and be a couch potato. That's like he's so good at it too. Like a grease stain on a cushion. It's great, and he looks so good doing it.
And
too.
You don't take that personally.
And I don't take that personally. Yeah. I'm like, go outside, do something with the dog, or with the kid, or with the dog and kid, or you good? You're comfortable? You happy? Great. I'm going to go do something fantastic for myself. And I think whenever you let go of that stigma, and this is what probably was the hardest thing for me to work through towards too in our marriage. Like getting married outside of my comfort zone and walking towards to figuring out that there is no comfort zone. You need to be happy and comfortable on your own. That was the first question you asked me. Are you happy? Like, oh no, does Rick make you happy? Do you remember that? We were talking
when we were
about relationship. It was one of those things like where I finally warmed up to talking about oh, hey, how about being gay in like small community? And you're like, oh, well, does Rick make you happy? I'm like, no. And then we laughed. You remember?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
And when we laughed, and I'm like, well, no, I mean, I'm happy with him, but he's not the reason I'm happy. He doesn't make me happy. If you're unhappy and you're with George Clooney, he's not going to make you happy. Like, I'm sorry. So.
George Clooney.
No, I mean, not really. Whatever. But
I remember that conversation because you guys would have your talks, and then she would come home and she's like, this is what me and
Maria talked
about today, and like, listen how cool this is. And then we would start talking about it, and it is because you don't see an example of very many couples like that where you're polar opposite people.
Right, exactly.
But it works.
It's not, people like, oh, it's so easy. It's not easy. It's just finding those balances and accepting them. Like I knew that I wanted to make this marriage work, and once you establish that, what do we need to do to make this work? You need to leave me the fuck alone to do whatever I want, and I need to leave you the fuck alone to do nothing. And we're great together, so that works. And I'm not saying that if he puts his mind to it, he's really great at what he does, but he really does work hard at work. Like, he's a crane inspector in the maintenance department at a copper mill, I think. Copper mill. So that's a lot of work, a lot of physical work. He does not want to have a small talk. He doesn't want to tell me about his day. If he wants to, he'll come and find me. I'll be probably crafting something. So, and it doesn't mean that I need to drop my craft and be like, I'm ready to listen. I can be like, So I guess finding the balance in personal relationship made it for me. Like, we don't need each other to be happy. Like, you need to be happy, and then the rest will come. So
that's a good answer. I like that.
We need Maria to go into all the middle schools and talk to all the children.
I don't like children.
Neither do I. But, I like my friends' kids. That's about it. But
no, well, thank you so much for being on. We definitely have to have you on again.
I'm
love
sorry
you,
we went
Maria.
over the.
No.
Listen, we're doing way better than
Yeah.
I thought we would do. Like so much better than
How
I
many
thought we
questions
would
did you not get to ask?
Probably a few.
Yeah, let's see your little notes over here.
See my notes?
No notes. We just go.
It's the cups. It's the cups.
It is the
they
cups.
They took the time.
I'm so excited for these cups.
I
Thank
know.
you so much. They're
You're the best.
glittery and beautiful. Look at
Just
that.
like you.
Just like Maria. You sparkling little angel, you who says fuck all the time. Oh, say something in Russian. Like,
Oh, yeah.
come on, say something. I don't fucking care. You can sing Mary Had a Little Lamb. It'll sound cool.
Oh man.
She's like,
That
put me on the spot.
Oh, pretend you're yelling at you know who. That
I can't cuss in Russian because that means it actually makes me more embarrassing to cuss in Russian than it is in English because that I think in Russian. So to me, if I say fuck in English, it's like I'm like it's translated. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a bad word. You know, it comes later. But in Russian. Я не знаю, что сказать на самом деле. По-русски мне говорить не с кем здесь. Я обычно, на самом деле, только говорю по-английски. У меня даже дочка по-русски не разговаривает, а муж тем более.
I'll take two.
yeah, exactly. I would just sit here like this all day.
Let's all
But
just stare at
and
Maria.
everybody's like, does Rick speak Russian? I'm like, are you kidding me? he knows how to say sunshine, poop, and good kitten. The most important words.
Good
We're not gonna go there.
Oh, I love the next time I see your husband, I'm gonna go.
Good
How do you
kitten.
say good kitten in Russian? He's gonna go,
Хороший котенок.
There you go. There's your lesson.
good kitten. I love it so much.
And that's how my daughter knows.
And that's
it.
why your marriage is so wonderful.
No one needs to understand it. It's perfect.
We should have wrapped up before we.
No, this is good.
now
the
it's
best
gonna
part.
be now it's gonna be mature audience only.
Listen, that's why we've already discussed this like the whole after
Yeah.
hours show because it was the same with Teresa.
Yeah.
We cut off with Teresa and I'm like, motherfucker, this is the best.
The best part
yeah.
happened.
So yeah,
We
we'll
need
have to
after
have our
hours.
special X-rated versions of things. It'll be great. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe and leave whatever comments you'd like. I don't care. They're funny. We like to read through them. And please check out Maria on all of her
Facebook,
platforms.
Instagram.
We will put them in the
We'll
description.
tag it in the description, yeah.
And lash lift, tint, all of your lashing needs. You know, if you're really serious.
We have Taylor now,
And we have
so-
Taylor.
And she has cute little
Super-
goodies at her shop, too.
yeah,
Stop
you just
in.
Oh, yeah,
stop by
like
and see
Elaine.
the shop because it really is
So
so
pretty.
beautiful. Like it's right by Theo Yanni's. I know y'all know where that is. Stop it and say hi.
Theo Yanis should sponsor your
Yeah.
podcast from now on for free advertisement.
Free advertisements from Theo Yanni's. We love the feta French fries. Thank you. But thank you guys. We'll see you
Thanks.
next episode.
Bye.
Bye.